Let's bring in a whole host of voices here. Number one, a Fox Business exclusive, chairman of Patriotic, Millionaires, and former BlackRock managing director Morris Pearl. And then we've got Fox Business's Adam Shapiro live on Capitol Hill. Adam, let me quickly start with you. The president just said he had met with some Senate members. We're presuming Republicans. He said things are, quote, going well. What does that mean? Code talk and break it through for us there.
Sure. It was members of the Senate Finance Committee, Orrin Hatch, and not Ron Johnson. Ron Johnson is key because he says he'll vote no unless he can get the 17.4% deduction raised that small businesses would use to lower their pass-through income. They're going to strike a deal. You can expect that. But on that issue where the House and the Senate are totally at odds, state and local tax deductions. Liz, when you think about this, the Senate, they just want to totally repeal state and local tax deductions. None of the senators are coming from states that are high tax states where the state and local tax deduction is somewhat necessary. But then you've got the House where there are representatives, Peter King, Long Island, who say got to have some state and local tax deduction. There will be a compromise. Chuck Grassley kind of spilling the beans, but it's a no-brainer. They'll probably have the $10,000 property tax deduction. But on income taxes at the state and local level, bye-bye, as the stewardesses would say on the airlines.
Yeah, stay here, Adam. I want you part of this conversation with Morris Pearl. Morris, as we await the press secretary's news conference here, there are three senators people have huge question marks over. That would be Senator Jeff Flake. We are also looking at Senator Corker, Bob Corker of Tennessee, and Senator John McCain. But there's also James Lankford of Oklahoma. And as we look at these three gentlemen, plus James Lankford, what do you think is the number one thing that will prevent the House and the Senate from coming together and merging a plan that works before Christmas?
Well, I think it's really what you just said a few minutes ago, Liz. What really drives the American economy is all those consumers buying stuff on Cyber Monday, at Gap, at everywhere else.
Why would they stop with this plan?
Well, because this plan gives so much more money to all of the billionaires. It actually ends up raising taxes for most people over a couple of years because the tax benefits that affect regular people, those are temporary. The tax benefits for billionaires to inherit more money, to get rid of the alternative minimum tax, those are permanent.
You know, Adam, what are they saying about that point?
Well, they say that the economy will grow. This is the talking point in rebuttal to what we just heard.
Exactly.
Yes, they're going to repeal the AMT, but what the Republicans and those who are pushing this tax reform saying is that there's going to be such economic growth that some are even saying you might see 4% in the next year or two, that will make up for what's being given away or taken away, depending how you look at it.
Morris?
Yeah, we've never seen that kind of economic growth with prior tax cuts. We've never seen it during the Reagan years. And it never happens.
What do you mean we never saw it with Ronald Reagan? We saw pretty significant growth with both him and Bill Clinton.
We saw significant growth, but not because rich people were spending more money, because everyone else was spending more money when oil prices went down so much during the Reagan years. It's the people spending money in the economy that drives the economy, not a few billionaires having more money.
You know what I find interesting about the Oklahoma senator, and I don't know if you heard this, Adam, but he wants a mechanism put in, whereas if growth falls short, once you factor in the growth that is expected, again, this dynamic scoring, which is the anticipation of growth coming, although it's kind of pie in the sky at the moment. We don't really have hard numbers on whether that will happen. If growth, once you take into effect the juice that comes from the initial tax cuts, falls short, then there's a mechanism that somehow sunsets these tax cuts so that we don't cause a huge dent in the deficit and the debt.
Two issues with that. I don't think James Lankford, the senator from Oklahoma, I believe who you're referring to, would appreciate my comparing him to a Democrat. But the Democrats actually, in jest, were saying something very similar to that. Look, if this is so great, if it doesn't deliver, why don't we just put something in there where we reverse it? But it's already in there. Most of the income tax cuts on the individual side all expire in 10 years. They are not set in stone.
Exactly.